I think you can fake it, and you can fake so hard that you do make it quite easily. Yeah. How else do you start? The heart, well, there's the physical and there's the figurative, connected to all the other bits it's connected to. People talk about the heart song, and I'm more likely to be fine talking about my gut song. The heart and the lungs and the whole breathing, respiratory, cardiovascular system, they're all so closely connected. There's a real physicality to playing a wind instrument, which is so closely related to how we express ourselves through speech and song as well. Especially when you're recording, everything goes in and out of the ear. In my case, it's literally the ear, because I've only got one that works. The physics of sound is all about vibration and frequency, and that's where the feet seem to relate to me, feeling some kind of energy up through the earth. I have stopped seeing the saxophone as the musical instrument and have started to see me as the musical instrument, and this bit is only the amplifier, if you like, the speaker, and I suppose where my body ends is the mouth, so yes, it's important. Hands, not so important. For me, it's about the voice, about the cry, about the shout, and the fingers, well, they only have a tangential connection in my mind these days. Maybe it's just too automatic, I don't know, but that's the way I feel. I can close my eyes and see and think and feel things from years ago which will trigger moods and expressions and feelings. And I have very ready access to those when I have a saxophone in my mouth. No, I never fell in love with the saxophone. It was just a means to make more money than I was making busking with the clarinet. And that's really where most of my training took place. I think a lot of people used to like my playing when I hadn't been playing very long, and I often wonder why, because when I listen to recordings, technically it sounds god-awful, but I think what was there was that access to the emotions, and that's what people noticed, and that's what kind of let me get away with it. I'm Northern Irish. We're not famous for wearing our passion on our sleeves. So I don't think it's a coincidence that I ended up with a saxophone in my mouth, because it just gives me a means to express things from deep inside, which, well, frankly, very few people get to do. That's a privilege. I'm passionate about my practice. That's all the feelings mixed into one. If you're doing a jazz gig, for instance, you'll be doing some up-tempo numbers, and you might spice things up with some Latin, and you might have a slow ballad, and you might do a blues. I mean, that's the sort of a standard kind of jazz set. And there's plenty of opportunities to go in whatever direction you want during the course of that performance. So if something's been bothering you, something's making you sad, it's very easy just to pick it up and apply it to that particular piece within the set. The emotions, that depends very, very much on the occasion. It's obviously not appropriate to emote too hard at somebody's wedding. Too much emotion can get in the way of the physical performance as well, of the technical side of the performance, so you've got to be a little bit careful with it. But I often find that when I'm recording, I can really pour everything into it in a way I can't always when I'm performing live. The differences between training privately and performing publicly. I would normally, when you're playing publicly, there's a Freudian slip there. Playing publicly, you're often being paid. It does tend to moderate your performance. It has to. I think it does for most people, even for people who are famous for expressing themselves in extreme ways. They're still aware of a paying public. There's a rare artist who does utterly, completely what they want to on every performance. I've got a wedding gig next weekend, and I know exactly what I'll be playing, and I won't step too far from the script. Is it my only practice? No, not at all. I play all sorts of instruments, and I make music in all sorts of ways. I record, I compose. I love cycling, and I've got children, and all these things are just part of the whole person, really. And I don't like to separate one from the other. Innate talent. I'm not sure I completely believe in that. Yeah, when I look back at primary school, I was better at playing the recorder than most of the guys in my class, but not all of them. And I think it's just something that you do year in, year out. You grow into it and it becomes part of you. It's just a path I've gone down, and one which I love, and I don't worry too much about whether I've got a talent for it or not. It's just what I do. I don't think I'm an expert practitioner. I absolutely do not. Stickability, really. I think most people will get there if they have that. Some people just physically aren't cut out for it, I'm afraid. Teaching is part of what I do. I learn as much from the students as the students learn from me. And of course, you're always learning when you're playing with other people in live performance. I think once you start to think how brilliant you are, how expert you are, you lose the ability to learn from others. There's not a right way to practice. Everybody's different. Certainly the kind of music I like to make and like to listen to, I like to make it with explorers. Specifically about jazz. Jazz nearly always is played in strict tempo. And it's, until relatively recently, it was nearly always played in strict structures too. And the reason for that is the more rules and restrictions and structures that you impose on something, the more freedom there is for the improviser. It's, you know, it's that terrifying concept of a blank piece of paper. It's much easier if you're given just a couple of colours to work with than the whole palette.